Welcome back everyone. We're making another little video here to help you with ordering fractions. That's not getting on the phone and ordering a couple of fractions on from takeout or anything, but it's about putting them in the correct order on the number line. And now the focus usually here is on the denominator, that number on the bottom of the fraction that tells us how many pieces something's been cut up into. Okay, so again, here's a little demonstration with a piece of paper. I have folded that in half, so the denominator on this fraction will be 2, and if I fold it again, I'll have quarters. Okay, so it's just really important to understand when you see that number, like 1/4 here, it's actually in 4 equal sized pieces. So each piece is going to be smaller. Okay, there's 4 pieces here to make the whole. If I unfold it, okay, but each little piece here is slightly smaller because the denominator is 4, right? And if you follow the pattern, if I folded this another couple of times, the denominator might be go from quarters to eighths to sixteenths, and 1/16, and I'll quickly do that here, 1/16. Each piece, because the denominator is 16, each piece is only of that 16th is only one that big. All right, so the general pattern is, as the numbers on the denominator get larger, the actual pieces on the numerator, what they represent, is actually a smaller quantity. So with that in mind, we're going to sketch some number lines, and these number lines are not perfect. We're not going to rule them out. They're sketches of a number line. We're just going to put in the key information, and that will help us place these fractions in their correct order. Okay, we want to put fractions in some kind of order, and the thing to remember here are some words. We've got ascending and descending. We just need to remember what those words mean. If we're ascending, we're going from the smallest fraction to the largest fraction. And descending, we're starting with the large one and we're going down to the smallest one. So I always try and match up some letters here, so we're going down to when we're descending. Okay. Always think about it as descending from the top of the mountain. Okay, so I've got some symbols here that kind of look like little eyeballs. I'm just getting you to focus in on a few things. Now, one of those things that's really helpful when we are asked to do these things, if the denominator is the same, so I'll fill in the numerator in a moment, but you're looking at a list of fractions and the denominator is 3, for example. Okay, that's helpful because all the action now is just up on the numerator, and I don't know, I'm making these numbers up as I go. Perhaps we've got something like this. They are in ascending order, starting with the smallest fraction all the way through to the largest fraction. That's really easy. If you just take the time to scan your list and look at the denominator, and if it's all the same, then that's great. We can quickly work things out. So, and it just might pay, for example, if you've got something like this, it might pay if you've got some mixed numbers and you've got something like this, just to do the step of converting this into say 17 on 7, and then you can go ahead and compare your lists. It's a bit tricky when they're in mixed numbers to actually position them, and so just a little reminder, that skill of converting from a mixed number to an improper fraction is useful here, right now. Okay, so what we want to do is look, for example, and see, sometimes we see things like the numerator is the same, and let's use 1/3 and 1/5. Okay, here's a really easy example to use. This idea, what's helpful here is looking at the denominator now that we know the numerator is the same, and thinking about the size of the pieces. Okay, so a third, something that's been cut into a third or 3 pieces, is larger than something. Each of those pieces, so one of those pieces will be bigger than something of the same size cut into 5 pieces here, for example. Okay, and that kind of thinking will help us order the fractions in either ascending or descending order, depending on what the question asks us to do. So possibly the last set of questions here, if you're looking and you don't see either of those things, then you need to come down and work out the lowest common denominator. For example, say if we have 5 on 6 and 2/3 as 2 fractions that we need to compare and put them in order. What we might do here is, the lowest common denominator here is 6, so we could times this fraction to create an equivalent fraction as this one is equal to 4 on 6. So finally we might say some statement like 5 on 6 is greater than 2/3, knowing that we've done this work here to create an equivalent fraction with the same denominators. And then we're back into that first thing that we we're talking about. The denominators are the same, so we just need to look at the numerators when we do this. Okay, but there is that extra step, and it may be worth just doing one more example just to help you out. I might do one over here. I'm going to call this 11 on 16, and we're comparing it to something on like 15 on 24. Okay, we need to look at the denominators and look for a common denominator here, and one way we can do it, we can work this out in our head. We can say that 24 times 2 is 48, and 16 times 3 is 48. In this example, we're going to have a common denominator of 48, so I can set that up down below. And what I really would like to see you do is transfer this information. We doubled this number, so we have to double this one to create the equivalent fraction. We multiplied this by 3, so I always bring this up on the line with the numerator, and I now can see that 11/16 is greater than 15/24. Okay, and that's the type of work that you need to do to help you get the fractions in the correct order. Okay, thank you.